Welcome in, everyone. Okay, so the sound is good and we are going to get started. Please give me a moment to shuffle off the cards. I am aware that this will not resonate for everyone, but to those that it does, this is for you. Welcome in, Soul Tribe, Soul Family. It's good to see you. Glad you're here. Hey, Jano. Let me just pop up my. Hi, Kamisha. I think that's how you say your name. Forgive me if I say it wrong. The screen is very tiny. But welcome in. I'm so glad you're here. One moment to shuffle the cards, and I'll be right with you. I will timestamp this afterwards. Okay, cards are shuffled. Welcome in, everyone. I'm going to try to straighten these cards up just a smidge here so you can actually see what's going on. So give me just one moment. It's my camera view. It's not the best. There are two different views. So one is for, you know, cell phones or something like that. And then the other is for full view. So the cell phone one, you will not be able to see all the cards. I can't help that or control that. I need someone to let me know if you guys can hear me, okay? One moment, please. Trying to organize my spread here. It's quite messy. Okay. Hey, Truly. Hey, Ave. How you doing? Hey, Jano. Hey, Son. How you doing? Okay, let's get started here because this one's going to be lengthy. I will timestamp this. This will not be for everyone. I'm aware of that. Like I said, but for those who needed this message, I am putting it out here. So, this could resonate now or it could resonate anytime in 2026. So keep that in mind. Maybe parts of this will resonate for you. You never know. If you're here for a reason, right? Avery says, I can hear you now. Yeah, I muted it to shuffle the cards. It's very loud. I appreciate you looking out for me, though. I love you. All right, let's get started here. Let me timestamp it. 8:08. There's a lot of synchronicities occurring for each and every one of you that are here watching this. And if it hasn't started happening, it soon will arrive. I have been receiving a lot of information, so I'm sure that all of you feel quite hectic in the energy, or you feel as if something is about to change drastically, massively. Some of you may be seeing some synchronicities, like you will ask for something and it occurs. Maybe you're seeing repeated numbers. Specifically, there is a frequency activation, a light activation for master numbers 11, 22, and 33. Not saying that other numbers will not resonate in this reading, because it certainly can. And what I have got is this energy of this need to look at some sort of unresolved pain, okay, within you. And if some of you here have been watching my previous readings, a lot of the stuff that's been coming through energy-wise is to clear your heart or clear your mind as to be able to receive that information from God, right? We want the receiver cleared out so that you can receive the right kind of input or messages, right? So for some of you, you have been doing that active clearing out, that active work, and it might even be reflecting correspondently to the external, right? Maybe you're cleaning out your house, okay, cleaning things up. Okay, these are ways that you may know that this could resonate for you. I want to say that for those of you who are actively working on or feeling the need to work on removing this pain or this sort of negative energy that you've acquired through hurt, mistrust, whatever that may be, the reason that you're feeling that energy to get this cleaned out is because of these light activations for 11, 22, and 33. There is this energy of the sacred warrior that is activated within each and every one of you who resonate with this reading. And we're going to talk a little bit about this energy and how to work through, and just some things that come up in the channeling here to help you be able to work through, or maybe you will need to assist someone in and around your energy, okay? So first off, I want to start with saying as well, if you haven't already watched the previous readings about leading with your heart, it's very pertinent to those of you who have those master numbers 11, 22, and 33. It's necessary to be led by the heart. And for some of you, maybe you are having this forthcoming. I know I have recently about how you walk through life, what your philosophy is. And maybe you are one that walks through life with unconditional love, right? And compassion. And you put your heart into everything that you do. Okay. I certainly can resonate with that. And there's been some issues with boundaries and, of course, pushing those boundaries. Things like this is going on within your life. Now, some of you may see this manifest in your work environment, but it certainly could be at home, okay, or with people that you're dealing with, okay? So it's been difficult if you've been in this frequency of sort of moving through life by this philosophy and also simultaneously doing this clean out, this work, spring cleaning, so to speak, but it isn't spring, but you know what I mean, this cleaning out, so that you can be able to receive this light energy or this information from God. Now, those of you who are resonating with this, you may be noticing people in and around your energy that are sort of mirroring this dual energy or this opposition to you. Maybe you're becoming more aware of things in and around your energy of particular people who have sort of some unprocessed pain. And those of us who are here know that if we don't process our pain, which, listen, healing is a personal journey and it takes time, right? No rush, no push, it is what it is. But unprocessed pain with this type of activation can be detrimental because it can destroy a person. And that's why this channeling was so important for me to put out. Okay. So you're seeing people who are struggling in this energy, okay, because of this unprocessed pain. And this pain, when it's not processed properly or purged, it can sever things, right? Depending on your frequency, okay, how it's coming out. An example, my 11s, maybe you are receiving, my 11s or 33s, maybe you're receiving sort of toxic communication or severing harsh perfectionism communication in your surroundings, okay? I normally say that, we must look within ourselves to really see what's going on, and we can also look externally, but this doesn't seem to be the case, okay? It seems to be sort of this oppositional mirroring of the energy. So an example is if you are coming into your work environment with unconditional love, you will be sort of mirrored back this unconditional love or this conditional love, right? Or maybe like jealousy or these lower vibrational energies, and it's triggering for some of you, like that specific subset, a trust breaking issue where you've lost trust. Okay. So trust is a big thing that seems to be coming up in this energy. Okay. Self-trust, trust of God, trust. Okay. And with this latest activation, there is this sort of sacred warrior energy. Now, this energy is defensive, right? It's defending the light, okay, within you. It is defending the light. It's fighting for this clarity, this light to be able to make a way for change. It's trying to push that energy out to change the octave of the environment. Now, when this energy isn't taking an order, so think of it as like the general, right? If this general isn't receiving an order from the light, it's going to receive an order from a corrupt leader, okay? Which you will know these energies that are sort of struggling with this unprocessed pain, because they will be harsh, impulsive. There will be lower octave energy in their projection or sort of embodiment of the energy. Okay. So we need to be really aware of that. Okay. So my 11s specifically for you, you are the communicators, the divine communicators. So you are going to probably receive that harsh communication more than the other numbers, except for 33, because you harness both, right? 22s, you're going to definitely feel, because you're the master manifestors, right? You're going to feel like blocks in manifestation. Like maybe someone will talk about what you're trying to create negatively, or sort of block you in some way, shape, or form. So just kind of be aware. And 33s, my master teachers, this can come any way from you. You know what I mean? Towards you or whatever. So just kind of be aware. 33s are kind of getting hit pretty hard, because they're also receiving either a lack of communication or toxic communication, or both. Okay. Issues with the manifestation in general, especially if they're working on that clearing out. So there's a need to really, really focus in on who somebody's receiving orders from. Okay. And you can definitely tell that by their action, right? Because actions are going to speak louder than words. However, for some of you, you will be able to tell from the words. Okay. Why am I bringing this up for those of you master numbers? Because this feels really familiar, and I feel like I needed to share this experience, because if these people do not around you purge out this unprocessed pain, deal with it. Okay. Sometimes it's not even about like fixing it. It's about like acknowledging it and seeing the sort of undercurrent of it. It is going to cause a dark night of the soul. So you're going to start seeing people around you going through the dark night of the soul, is what I call it. Or just strife, just difficult, really difficult situations, because this sacred warrior within, if it cannot project the energy, embody the energy in a positive light, it's going to sever from within, right? So you're going to start seeing people struggle. You're going to start seeing people going through it. Okay. Self-undoing, things like this, because there's a difficult energy for them to be able to pull what's really going on under the surface to the actual consciousness. And when you receive these activations, most of you already have, okay, this is already going on actively, but when you receive these activations, as you embody that light, okay, as you embody that sacred warrior of light, to create change, all right, you are going to trigger a lot of people around you that aren't quite in that energy. Okay. Try to speak with love, try to be patient. I know it's difficult. And if somebody's just really, really difficult, don't, you know what I mean? Don't put yourself in a situation to where this warrior gets a order from the wrong energy, if you know what I'm saying. And for those of you that are struggling, or you have individuals struggling with the fact that they have really projected and tried to be unconditionally loving and compassionate in this world, and it's just spewed horrible energy onto them, and they really have this deep pain, about it, try to help them not flip the switch, because that also is something else that can cause this energy to sort of create destruction within. Okay. It can cause that person, when they flip that switch, to flip off the receiver from the light order. You understand? Don't try to put yourself in situations where it's an impossible outcome here. Okay. And, you know, for some of you, you may have to lean into your master number to sort of help transmute the energy. So 33s teach if they want to be taught. Okay. Don't push if they don't want to know. You can't help somebody that doesn't want help. My 11s communicate, you know, give them that message from light, from God. Okay. And my 22s just manifest, do what you do. And, you know, we run the risk here of becoming distracted. And distraction is a form of depowering or control, right? And so we have to be able to concentrate our energy. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're proceeding forward here. There's a lot of change coming. It's a huge change. It's very strong. There's a lot of different things happening in the energy that's caused these activations, I feel like. And so you're going to really see some stuff culminate. And you need to focus on trust with yourself, trust with God, with the light, you know, really prioritizing your care, your rest is important. Your spirituality, whatever it is that you do, meditation, prayer, you have to really be disciplined with that because your energy is going to be needed more so than usual. Okay. So for those of you that's already worked through some of these sort of energy activations, you're going to be able to consciously see where the trust is broken, or you may see where somebody has sort of self-esteem issues and they're projecting or doing things like that. So just be aware there's always going to be an oppositional energy that is present. It's the way that it is, you know. Don't take abuse. Okay, if you are one that's walking in love and someone's projecting hate and judgment, just do not deal with those people right now, because they're on the path of self-undoing, and that general inside that's receiving an order from corrupt leader is going to destroy everything in its path. Okay, some people you're not going to be able to help if they don't want to receive that help, and it could potentially cause a lot of problems for you if you involve yourself, if someone's not asking of free will for you to intervene. Okay, so I'm just telling you, it's like the way of things. They have to give their permission. So just continue to walk in that unconditional love and compassion and put your heart in everything that you're doing. You know, be balanced as you proceed forward. Okay. And I just want to say that some of you may be really noticing some issues within leadership that you've had. Maybe some people are trying to step into positions of leadership that they feel like they've earned but have not received. And they may be trying to sort of intervene in the energy in a way that's sort of unearned. Let's say it like that. And I'm going to tell you, those people who hasn't really understood that compassion and charity and unconditional love is literally authority and energy of magnetism, right? Those people who are leading with their heart, they don't really want to be leaders, right? They're just doing things like from their heart. They're doing it with their whole heart. And they sort of are put into a leadership role because people are inspired to change, right? Love changes minds, right? So just know that if you are in your heart space and you're hearing some negativity, like you need to stop doing this or doing that, just maintain your flow. Don't let water in the boat, okay? We don't take orders from anyone but God and the light, like, you know what I mean? So You're just going to have a little bit of negativity and turbulence in the next couple of weeks. But the more that you don't recognize that in your reality and you just do what you do, you know, focus on you. It's just a projection of what needs to be done within them. Okay. So don't let someone else mirror these things upon you and feel like you need to alter something or do something. Okay. If you have done the work and you are in a heart space and you know you're coming from love, I mean, that's all you can do, you know. Trust yourself. Trust God. Okay. Trust the light. Because, you know, with Neptune here, we are having all of these energies sort of come up where there's about to be a close in a cycle. Either you get on board or you're left behind. And it's humanity. It's humanity's energy of pain. So we have to really be looking at, you know, with this Neptune energy, what is ours and what is everybody else's. And so when you're at work, when you're out and about, you are touching energies with people. Okay. So if you're around someone daily, like at work here, and they're suffering from like heartbreak or pain or a breakup or something, that's going to, it's going to affect the electromagnetic field of that area. Okay. And so those of you that are doing this work, this purging work, you have this sort of understanding of your atmosphere, energetically speaking. Okay. When you walk into the room, especially those of you that resonate with these master numbers, your presence alone shifts the frequency. And that may not be comfortable for someone that you work with that's going through this, or, you know, that is not sure of their self or suffers from low self-esteem, or is having struggles, right? Partnership struggles, or, you know, emotional turbulence. And it's interesting because I'm seeing this frequency of 11 through humanity here, where there's some unchecked emotional energy, or there's overly emotional energy. Now, some people are working through and they're going to reach out to you, and you guys are basically touching base and you're making sense of things. Okay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like unchecked emotional turbulence that is apparent in action. That's toxic. I will say, make sure you're taking very good care of your energy. If you feel like you can't do it, you should probably retreat from that and take the rest period that you need with Neptune here. Okay. Because it's necessary for you to retriate your energy. Pulling back is how we are able to pull our energy in, cleanse that energy, reprotect our field, and then go back out into these heavy energies to proceed forward. Okay. Presence is important. I cannot stress that enough. Okay. If you're one that leads with your heart, you have to be present. Okay. And I know that it's difficult sometimes, especially in these current energies. Okay. There's a lot of shifts right now currently as I'm tapping the energy and structure and regulation of that structure. Okay. There's some issues with the boundaries of that structure, because some of these, well, not some, but these old structures are falling. And so people are trying to create their own sort of flow of things. All right. But presence is important. So just be present in your energy, you know, check in with yourself as you proceed forward through your day. And, you know, really work on building the trust within you. Okay. The trust within whatever was broken trust wise. Okay. Because there's been a lot of issues with 11, 22, and 33 where they've overly given, because they do have this unconditional love frequency and compassion. And it sort of made them feel like the world has, you see the humanitarianism here. It's made them feel like the world has sort of taken everything that they've given, even to the point of, if it was necessary, they would be dissolved. You kind of understand what I'm saying? While simultaneously projecting back to these master light frequencies that the opposite, almost unconditional love, and sort of sometimes jealousy, hatred, vice versa. So just be aware that this is something going on, and it's sort of helping you dissolve away some of the people that you probably shouldn't be dealing with here, because we do have partnerships up here and emotions, okay, is in play here. And you have this very protective energy, this very nurturing energy, and, that's not for everyone, okay? So, Saturn energy here is really showing us where we need to sort of lay down a boundary, where we need to sort of say, okay, what you're asking for is absolutely too much. Or maybe we need to either have a communication 11 with someone about what all we have really brought to the table, if there is sort of this delusion or this static about what we really contribute and bring to the table. Because I can tell you that everybody here in this chat right now is really delivering. They're showing up at work, they're showing up in their relationships, they're showing up in their families, they're doing, okay? And you're doing all you can, okay? Some of you are actively working on things as well, okay? You're actively closing a cycle, okay? And for some of you, you're working on that structured boundaries, okay? And there's this focus on separation, and remember, separation's an illusion. There's duality, and duality is necessary for the flow, but that duality must be balanced, and it's very imbalanced, and you can feel that in the energy, okay? It's unbalanced for a lot of different reasons, and it would take me all day to go into each one of those reasons because you have a lot of people around you. More importantly, you're here in this energy, and I'm seeing you who is watching this, who's resonating with this. You are showing up, you're being very humanitarian, you're giving unconditional love, you're doing what's necessary, you're present, you're doing what you need to do. However, we can't give to the point of we have nothing, okay? So there has to be a new structure in play. And the way that you're relating to people is going to start to shift and change. Okay, I will say that. And the way that you share with people is going to start to shift and change. You're seeing that you can still have unconditional love and compassion and help. But we must also have unconditional love and compassion for the self, okay, in order to be able to do that. And you're looking at where these sort of completions need to happen. And I will tell you, people who are coming at you in a sense of separation or make you feel separation or are completely unreasonable, you will complete that energy. Wholeness is a big deal for you right now. You need to be surrounded by people who are coming from a place of love, who are coming from a place of wholeness, and understand that balance and that duality, in order to proceed forward. So there is some energies where people are sort of dealing with these conflicts. They are struggling with some impulsive energy, right? So like impulsively speaking, there's some poor judgment, poor timing. There's a lack of discipline, maybe scattered or dissolved thought process. Okay. You may feel like people aren't present. Maybe there's a lack of clarity or communication, right? They can't give you clarity if they don't have it. Okay. What they say to you may not make sense because it's not making sense inside of them because there's a lack of structure or something has created the energy of not being able to concentrate the energy. It's very dissolved. And again, I will tell you, dissolved mental energy is control. That means that you can't manifest. That means that you can't communicate. That means that you can't understand or gain wisdom or teach from a situation. That is like the worst thing ever. Okay. So whatever's distracting your energy, it needs to be pulled back away from. Okay. There needs to be a boundary slammed down with that. Okay. Because you do have some energies around you that's looking for instant gratification. There's sort of like an impatient energy, or like an unethical leadership. Okay, maybe someone's trying to take a role that they don't need. I do see a lot of stuff going on in work. I'm not going to lie about it. I see stuff going on in work and within your emotions and home, and also like expansion, right? There's sort of this tower energy happening here because there is a building up to move forward or expand out with the wisdom that you've gained. And, you know, there's some people around you that don't really want that energy to happen, but it's happening nonetheless. And some of you might be wondering if you should completely like relocate from a place that you're at, location wise, or a job or something like that, or maybe like a home or something like that. You might be feeling those type of energies because you feel like there's something missing there. And if you're doing that deep work, then you have already probably come to what it is. Okay. For some of you, maybe it was your upbringing. Maybe you were someone who had to take a leadership role and you've learned compassion and love. For some of you, maybe it was your partnerships that have been going awry because you know, was doing the most in the relationship. Maybe you got heartbroken and you're carrying that, or you're dealing with people like that in and around your energy. Okay. But nonetheless, this energy of your sort of giving and helping and trying to do the right thing here. And it seems like for those of you that are here, 11, 22, 33 resonates specifically. You're doing a lot because you're in this process of understanding, receiving these light codes, you know, this information from God very clearly because you've eliminated the distractions, and you have, you're in the process of expansion and manifestation. Okay. You're moving away from those that want to control you. Okay. For gain. Okay. There has to be sort of this common understanding and this common movement here of sort of philosophy or like goal here for you're going to be dealing with every energy here. You're not going to do that anymore. Okay. Because for some of you, there's this unchecked general within the people around you that wants to lead but is incapable of doing so. And, you know, don't say that to this person. It's not your place to do that. But I'm just telling you from the energy, they're incapable of doing that because they don't know how to purge this out or how to transmute this or what is even going wrong. They don't know. And their structure failed. You know, maybe they're using someone else's structure. I don't know. But this is also about you are going to reject the structures, you know, that just doesn't work. That's outdated, you know, like an example, maybe somebody has more seniority than you in a job. And while I respect seniority, if they're acting stupid, you know, I mean, if you're not going to switch places with somebody, you don't take advice from them. You don't listen to their leadership, you know, because you can be sure that they'll lead you right to where they're at. And if you don't want that, then so there's this sort of illumination of like taking or listening to people and like if that is the right thing to do. So the quality of the message, where it's coming from. Is it coming from God? Is it coming from, you know, light? Is it coming from darkness? Where is it coming from? Because, and that's very important right now. That frequency is very important. You know where you're getting your information from. Okay, you know it's coming from the light. But people who are refusing to release like past woundings and the past, it's like this present moment, because we've been talking about the future as we've read and read and read. Well, the future is now. It's the present. It's the presence that you have. It's the difference that you're making with your presence. Okay. So like when you go to work and you're doing your thing, you showing up and you being present is how you're doing your humanitarian work. It's how you're changing the world one person at a time. It's how you're shifting the dynamic. It's how you're contributing to the world. Okay. Presence is everything right now. So try not to let people affect you, make you feel like you're not, playing off that trust wound, or like making you upset because you project unconditional love and compassion, and they're projecting like hatefulness and just being completely, you know what I mean? Because that's probably going to be something that you're going to experience. Now, for some of you maybe talking to someone in and around your energies, could be a family member, partner, I don't know here, but you could be talking to someone about speaking up, or really using their abilities, right? I got the 11 for that. Okay. Really speaking up about, or speaking up for what's right, maybe speaking up for themselves, and speaking with love, obviously, but speaking up for themselves, But I promise you're going to see abuse of power if you haven't already. I hope you don't, but if you do, stay vibrationally synced with the light. Okay. Because the thing is, with this sacred warrior, it gets a little defensive when it starts seeing shadowy shit happening. So keep that energy check and directed. Okay. You don't want to waste your energy for manifestation, receiving communication and sort of being able to gain wisdom from situation and expansion, okay, by having to fight off. But there is going to be situations where you're going to have to slam down boundaries on people. Okay. And lead by example. Lead with your heart. Lead with sound mind. Focus on what it is that's distracting. And, some people around you is going to learn some hard lessons. There has to be ethical leadership going on here. And that's really something coming up with this Capricorn energy, because when I'm reading this energy, that's what's going on. Okay. There's a need for a change in the structure, though. Okay. Some of you have had like extreme grit as you've had to sort of endure through, I hear, situations. Try to stay in the higher vibe here. But leading by example and not telling someone what they need to do, but just being that, and it inspires people to do better or to be better. That's sort of what this energy is about. 11, 22, 33. Okay. Now for 11s, that's going to be slightly different because they are the master communicators. That's what they do. You're going to start to see some leadership stuff come up. That is coming up on the energy on my board right now. Again, like I said, the energy's there. There's blurred lines between, let's just say, leadership and sort of where that's coming from. And it's not rooted in, it's not with honor. Let's say that. So maintaining an honor energy. Okay. A lot of power and control dynamics going on here. And karma. So there's going to be people in and around your energy that's going to see some karma. Okay. But some of you are exhausted. Don't get burnout. Like, you're exhausted. So like pull back and take that rest when you need it. Okay. So, and there could be new leadership that you're seeing come into play as well. So keep that in mind. Definitely here. New partners, new leadership, new coworkers. Okay. Maybe you are going back and learning something. I doubt it. This feels more like your light code activation to me. So it's something you've had within your blood and it's waking up. But what you're feeling is a little bit of this sort of rebellion or revolution towards this framework that's going on, the old framework. So just keep in mind, like, that's what you're feeling. You're feeling the collective energy. All right. The collective that's about to shift because you're present in the energy. And so that's what you're feeling, sort of like this rebellious energy to drop this old structure. Okay. The old framework or the control. Right. And maybe it's the control that's actually really got your attention because you're like, that's not what needs to be pushed into the future. Okay. So there's a dissolution happening of the old structure, the old narratives, the old partnerships, the old, the toxic stuff. There's a lot of shifting in the energy here, right? We have Libra 7. So a lot of the way you partner with people, old partnerships, family, what's considered family, what is considered connective, right? And understanding the duality in those energies and how that sort of is extremely imbalanced in some aspects with people in and around your energy. And you're starting to see everybody's subconscious woundings and things like very apparent by their action. Okay. People who are in an energy where they refuse to drop a delusion. Okay. Be in this fantasy world. They're really struggling right now. Part of you feels empathetic for them. I feel like that's people in and around your energy that's dealing with like third party situation or maybe like partnerships and stuff like that. It's easier for them to embody the pain than to ask themselves why they continued to deal with this. It's painful. Or there could be a truth that's sort of released that is very painful to process. An example in the fourth house here, maybe someone's parent, and I'm not talking about anybody's parents, but maybe somebody's parent did something that wasn't the nicest to them and they asked finally why. And this parent really didn't have a good excuse. I don't know. That would be difficult for someone to deal with here. So these are very difficult woundings coming up here that have to be dealt with, processed. Some of them you're not going to be able to. It's not about you like healing them, right? But what is the wounding that you have? What's the collective wounding, trust issue, and what's like your ancestral wounding here? Because a lot of you have an ancestral activation within your blood that's happening. Okay. So you're gaining all of that wisdom flooding in as well. And it's all about authenticity, truly being in like your heart or truly being in an authentic energy. And that's detrimental to partnerships that are not authentic partnerships. All right. So as we shift in the energy, and this is a sudden shifting and increase, like crescendo in the energy, it's pretty rapid. And that's hard for people who are in and around your energy if they're kind of really struggling. I mean, straight up have integrity over shortcuts right now because karma is a thing. I know each and every one of you that are resonating with the 11, 22, 33 are not going to sacrifice integrity. But I'm just saying, if you have someone around you that is sacrificing integrity, that's not going to be fun to watch. There's some empathy for someone around you, I feel like. They're struggling, you can see it, and You know what's coming. Right? That you're trying to stand in your personal strength and power, because when we purge these things out, we really can tap into we stay in unity within too. Okay, separation's an illusion. You can really tap this vibrational frequency, and you stay in this higher vibrational frequency. So you're really, standing in your personal power and your strength, and of course all of this ancestral energy as well, right? Because you're all connected in. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this activation of blood. Now, this is going to get a little, probably, for some of you. You don't have to watch this part. I'm going to go ahead and timestamp that. 51:59. Okay. So some of you, let me get a drink here. 3 of Wands here in the 12th house. Jupiter, is making its arrival here, is what I feel like. 3 of Wands talks about teamwork. Okay, you got some ancestral teamwork going on here. If you can see this sort of blue and golden, this would be, to me, I'm seeing gold for the sun and silver for the moon here. Okay, so there's this sort of representation of you being in that perfect balance and that duality, right? And separation's an illusion because they're ebbing and flowing here. And you have the backing of your ancestry, okay? You have the teamwork and expansion of your ancestry going on here. So we're going to talk a little bit about this because it's important. As you are staying in this vibration, the best you can here, you embody this sacred warrior energy, okay, within you. And because you're staying very balanced, this general or this sacred warrior within you is taking orders from the light, okay? It's, for some of you, it could be your mind if you're an 11, 33, or your heart, it just depends on what your frequency is as you walk through your daily life and contribution to the world, Of course, if you feel like you're one that walks in life with that unconditional love, it's going to be your heart, right? It's coming through your heart here. But it will use this energy to protect. So anyone who's coming at you, an example, if you're walking through this energy and the activations in the heart, and you have this sort of receiver of God or this light energy in your heart, and you're projecting that unconditional love, right? Anyone who tries to, and this is just now going to happen, okay? So you'll feel this like probably after this reading, or when you go back around, maybe if it's at work or whatever, you will feel this activation. Because it's your protection, okay? And it's the protection of all of your ancestry. If one tries to project hate towards you or unconditional love, you'll be protected, okay? And this energy feels Mars-ish. So it will sever if it needs to, meaning it'll pull back boundaries, it'll do what it needs to, but it fights with, when you're in this octave of this love, okay, it's going to fight with love. So it'll try to neutralize the energy in a more positive demeanor of transmutation, okay? And it's sort of like a corruption rejector built in. Not saying you're not going to you haven't had a situation where you've dealt with a little bit of issues, okay? Because you're building up to grow and expand out here. So the general's here for defense, okay? And that's how you have to look at it, because it's like happening. But if there's a lot of, like I said, like under the surface unconscious things going on, that's not going to be good for some people here. Okay. But this energy embodies the energy of pushing it, like your electromagnetic field is going to be stronger because you're more present in the energy, and it'll push back like gossip, lies, sort of that projection type of energy of the opposition. Okay. Anyone who's trying to sever your trust or worth, you know, it's definitely going to be defending you. And I think that a lot of you here, the 11, 22, 33s, are going to try to help teach people what it is that you've learned as you proceed so far, right? So I just heard you keep what you teach. I don't know what that means, but you keep what you teach. I just heard worth is more than materialism. Maybe you have someone who's materialistic around you. I don't know. Aspiration needs to be unified. I just heard. And I heard broken wound of self. So those are some energies that you might have around you. Okay. All right. So let's get to this blood. So there's some sort of like an ancestral memory within your blood here. Okay. I heard blood is spiritual currency. Blood is spiritual currency. Blood is the essence of the soul. So there's this energy of connection with your ancestry as well here. Like I said, that sort of sacred warrior energy, and it's got the connection of the ancestry, and there's the energy of transcendence here. Okay. Ancestral memory is activating. I heard bridge of the spiritual. And your blood, if you're here today, 22, 11, and 33 has a unique frequency. Courage. Patience. Protector. That's what I heard. So I also heard that for those of you that resonate with the sacred warrior being activated, one of the reasons that you may be dealing with people in your energy trying to sort of, I don't want to keep getting negative, but showing you the opposition is because you, I feel like, didn't ask to be in a leadership role. Like you're just walking with your heart, but like you have the blood of leadership, you know, authority. I want to say spiritual authority, as the blood is waking up or activating this ancestral energy. And it's like you are being protected and partnered with by your ancestors. Okay. I heard justice runs deep within you. So maybe you get triggered when you see some injustice happening. I'm not sure. We do have Libra here, and we have the moon, so that could mean, you know, it's something that triggers or activates this energy to defend. And I feel like for some of you here, you need to expand out because stagnation is an issue, right? Maybe you've been unable to move forward because you've been sort of purging or cleaning something out in the subconscious, unconscious here. You've been working on some cleaning out here and clearing out so that receiver can be can be getting the communication from God, the light activation code from God here. Okay. I heard not every battle. You don't need to fight every battle. Okay. Speak with love. I heard blood is spiritual currency again. But there's something in your blood that is being activated here that has to do with like what you're supposed to be doing. So you'll notice like whatever that frequency might be. Again, if you're here for unconditional love and compassion, you're going to feel that. If you're here for illumination, you're going to feel that. But this frequency, this octave that you're carrying is stronger. And so it will be a little triggering to those who haven't released the old structure. Okay. Some of you have been through a lot of difficult energy, or maybe this could be someone in your energy here, you've been stabbed in the back, you feel betrayed, you feel very forgotten, you feel, there's some significant pain that you've carried there. And I feel like you are bringing consciousness with the King of Swords here to that. And like I said, sometimes it's not about healing it all the way. Sometimes about acknowledging it and understanding it with a different perspective to come to peace, to be able to move forward. Okay. You're clearing out I heard cleaning out the clutter. And it's because you're being pulled into your destiny. Okay. You're being pulled into your destiny. So you're going to start reuniting, I feel like, with people that is people you're supposed to be around socially, friends, soul tribe, groups. Okay. People. The right people is going to also activate, pulling them to you. It's like your electromagnetic field has this frequency in it now, okay, that is pulling in the right people, okay, the right situations, because this is about you stepping into destiny, right? And you needed to clean things out on the inside correspondently to project to the outside, or as above, so below. Okay. Your internal world, like your internal perception is important, and it was important. Okay. It needed to be looked at. And so some of the people that you may see struggling has a diluted perspective. Maybe the inner world view might be what is shaping the turbulence on the external here. You might be seeing that, feeling empathy for these people around you as you watch them stagnate. That's possible here in the energy. There's a lot of different people in your energy here. There's a lot of people around you. But you've transformed the pain to moving forward. You have the King of Wands here. You've picked the way to go, and it activated this blood memory, this ancestry, and you're now proceeding forward. But it all started with you cleaning that energy out, or bringing consciousness to it, so that whatever it was, whether it was your mind that was blocked, your heart that was blocked, that was your receiver of the light, your receiver of God, and it's now receiving the right input. So you may have felt a little stuck and stagnant at one point here. Didn't know what way to go here, but you clearly see what way to go now. And that's why we have this wholeness here, because you're moving forward in wholeness, in unity, separations, and illusion. So you have completion of the dissolution, right? Or dissolution, moving away from these. And again, it's when I'm doing this channeling, you know, we do have some Capricorn energy going on here. So, you know, creating and like walking away from the old structures, the corrupt leadership, you know what I mean? Like clearing out the things that sort of corrupted the light here. Okay. And you're walking with influence. There's not a want to be a leader, but it's just interesting because the frequency here, you're walking with influence. So you're really harnessing that. Those either resonate with those master number frequencies like activations of 11, 22, and 33. You're teaching by doing, right? You're teaching unconditional love by being in unconditional love and compassion. You're speaking by, you know, or what you say is truly, it's like with authority. It's like this blood has authority, and it has the frequency of, I don't know, it's that sacred warrior, you know. I heard spiritual currency, blood is spiritual currency. I heard it again. And it disrupts the darkness. So it's just now where you have felt previously that you were being sort of projected on from the darkness. It's like now the darkness feels projected upon, because when you walk in now with this energy frequency, it's like it disrupts and distorts that field of darkness. Okay. I could go really deep into this, but I'm not going to. But so you're, you know, this is some of that tachyon mind energy, antineutrinos and whatnot. You're disrupting fields in ways that you haven't before. Because you have a purpose, and this blood activation is purpose. And it's very strong. And maybe where you've had family situations or partners that's made you feel some kind of way, you know, where you've given everything, you've given love to the point where you had nothing to give, right? You're reconnecting into God here. Your cup runneth over, and I feel like you're walking away from these situations where these people, you wasn't enough, because you know you are. You know, maybe you didn't fit like the mold or something that they wanted you to be. It's not about what they want you to be. It's about your birthright, and it's about your purpose here. I just heard your blood speaks to you. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for that. So purpose, stepping into that. I'm trying to pull back from that energy a little bit. That's a lot. Okay, so let's go here for a minute in the energy. I'm trying to timestamp it. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to keep it as 1:11:29. I'm trying to keep it as organized as possible here, but so some of you guys are noticing where people are distracted, and I just heard the sound of silence. Okay, hold on a minute. So there's, for some of you, okay, so this is going in a different route here. Some of you feel a lack of human connection, or you're seeing that, noticing that. Maybe it has to do with technology. Okay, here. I think the unity is going to start rolling in here. So failed communication, maybe like a detached communication. I was getting this hit too. There's like a spiritual emptiness for some people here, right? Hence the lead up to this trust sort of being broken. Okay. I just heard you bowed to the neon god. So you might be seeing a lot of people distracted by technology or being on their phone. I'm not saying things wrong with that, you know. Just keep it balanced, right? So that you can check in with creator God, and yourself energetically to refill. Okay, don't allow yourself to be distracted, because when the mind is distracted, that is actually control, because you can't manifest. Okay, you got to be able to concentrate your mental energy. Okay. And I think that maybe you're noticing someone who's using a lot of technology because there's a sense of isolation and they're looking to fill that hole. Okay. Maybe that's something that you're noticing in the collective. Remember, some of these energies are going to be collective pain, collective wounding, okay, here that you're going to feel. There's a need to detox a bit from technology. Like genuine connection. Welcome in, you guys, if you're coming in. Don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm just channeling. Hi, Oma. How you doing? Hey, Red. So you're really looking at the energy where there's a lack of human connection. There's sort of this detachedness when it comes to connecting. Maybe you're seeing the isolation and pain within people, seeking to feel that void with something. People are talking about things that sort of don't really have meaning, just to sort of bide the time, or they're not listening. No genuineness or intimacy in the connections, right? A need to understand true wisdom, or for people to absorb true wisdom versus just a massive amount of information. There's nothing wrong with learning, though. I'm just reading the energies that I'm getting. Distraction. Okay, I see. Division. Okay. Separation's an illusion, but you're seeing this division, and it's social. So maybe you're seeing sort of this phone addiction or epidemic, or this, this division, right? And it's a struggle that everybody's having. So maybe you're picking up on that humanitarian pain of division, of struggle, of feeling isolated. Okay, and that might be some of the energies coming in, because when you're looking at Neptune, it becomes very dissolved. It's hard to tell if you don't check with yourself, right? if you don't check with yourself. Maybe you're in a room full of people that's supposed to be socializing and everybody's looking down, because I just heard like bowing to the neon god. So like everybody's looking down and nobody's talking to each other. Like you're seeing the disconnect, right? The addiction of having to look down at the phone or something like that. I don't know. It's caused sort of this disconnect or distraction, or sort of like this surface connection. Remember, if you're feeling this energy, true connection comes from within. All right. So, separation's an illusion. So check with yourself energetically, my 11s, 22s, and 33s. Okay. Check with yourself there. But you might be feeling that energy and you may be wanting to speak up about it or do something about it. I don't know how you would do that, but I am feeling that for you. Okay. Maybe you're wanting to help others with suffering. Maybe you feel like that's sort of a block in unconditional love and compassion and people being truly like seeing what's going on. Maybe people are distracted, not really seeing what's happening. That might be a way that you're feeling or something like that here. And that connection equals healing. Okay. And there's like, yeah, it's definitely a humanity wound here. You're seeing a humanity wound of division. Maybe people are coming in a place of ego. They're posting out of ego on social media instead of like seeing the suffering person next to them or somebody that needs maybe reached out to or helped. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of seeing this. It's becoming aware. I mean, the energy is very alive and you're seeing that, right? And you're saying there needs to be like a new way. Like communication needs to have meaning. It needs to have a new structure to it, like, right? People are the parameters of a connection and being close is considered different for certain different people here. Okay. Intimacy versus isolation seems to be sort of this Eric Erickson's 8 stages of psychosocial development going on here. Okay. Intimacy versus isolation. Like for collective speaking here. So there's sort of this like revolutionary understanding of social dynamics or humanity issues here. And that seems to be one that you're picking up on. Okay. Your perspective is there now. You see it, or maybe you might be slowly bringing awareness to it or helping people overcome that, right? Addiction comes in all forms. Okay. All forms. No judgment. But you see that division is a struggle in the human condition, and it's also distraction. And there's distraction that's stopping people from dealing with healing. They're stopping people from sort of looking within, right? It's stopping people from saying the thing, doing the thing, right? And it's changed the way that people relationship, because there's a presence energy that's not there, even though, do you know what I'm saying? Like what I'm trying to say? Like that's what I'm picking up on. I just seen the word division and die meaning two vision. There's two views of this, right? Needs to be one vision, one common thing where there's structure applied to things, okay, that work for everyone, that's unanimously agreed upon, I feel like. Okay, I feel like people who has distracted or been a part of that distraction, basically speaking without meaning. This is kind of harsh. Don't get mad at the messenger, but people who sort of spoke just to distract, or spoke shallowly or without meaning or sort of like light attached to it, they're part of the darkness spreading. Okay, and it's like they also are on the plot. Like everybody sees that now. Again, be careful who you take advice from, because if you wouldn't switch places with them, I don't recommend you listen to them all the time, because, where the mind goes, energy flows. Be really sure who you're dealing with, and who you're listening to. And I feel like there's this energy where you're sort of rejecting this enslavement, right? This control, this enslavement of the old structure, the ego shit. And instead, like, you're looking for everybody to step into alignment with belonging. That's what you're here purpose wise to do. I feel like belonging, unconditional love, compassion, and to sort of like stop some of the distraction. I mean, bring an awareness to it. Okay. That could be something that you're doing. Okay. So I feel like some of you here are going to open up about sort of some control issues within the family here. This could be to a partner, or maybe a partner could be sort of opening up to you about this as well. Something from the home or a parent or something like that. I don't think they did it on purpose for some of you here. But it caused like a loss of trust. Okay. Um, and you're really looking at where these woundings have sort of evolved and started from. And for some of you, this is a wound that sort of broke your trust. You felt like you couldn't defend yourself or something like that, because you felt like you needed to do conditional love in order to sort of be a part of this belonging. Okay. And so there's this deep understanding of belonging and how it can be manipulated, or you can be controlled by that. Okay. And now you're embodying this energy to defend yourself, but it's like you couldn't at one point because you didn't know how to work on finding this, or sort of talking about this sort of repression and control that you've had within emotions and whatnot. You didn't know how to do that, right? And so you might be really like looking at people who are looking for public praise, or something like that. Trying to shift that perspective, saying, teaching them about what you went through could be, or just speaking about what you went through and it's changing people. Okay. But I feel like you have the sacred warrior protecting sort of your energy in whatever way that is. Now, for some of you, it's the truth. For some of you, it's your heart. Some of you, it's your mind. It just depends on how you're walking through this energy. Some of you, it's the way, and it's like really leading into the way that you're contributing to the world and how that's being done, right? Stepping into your purpose with presence and your power, okay? In the present moment. No more past, no more future, like present, moving forward here. And I feel like you're really seeing sort of like the corruption and enslavement, sort of this toxic, shadowy or darker energy of the mind of division, and how that's bondage, and how it's really affecting like the collective and sort of this contribution to the world. And there's like a lack of presence and power, personal power in this moment as we speak, and even worth. Okay. So you're seeing all of these things sort of dissolving people, dissolving their trust, and you just feel like the world needs more compassion and freedom and, unconditional love. So being very open about mistrust and, hey, Tig. And so being very open about mistrust and sort of having self-compassion and being open, trusting the light, trusting God, creator. I heard trust the creator, not what was created. I don't know what that means. For some of you, you will. Wholeness and unity. I heard Nevis. Some of you guys have someone in your energy that has like a freckle in their iris, or you may have that, a freckle in your iris. And that might mean that this resonates for you, but it's like you're a light seer. Spiritual awareness and then protection, high intuition, and watchfulness. I just heard Eye of Horus. Your existence is your right. You do not need permission, I heard. I heard public praise, a fleeting breeze, true with, let's see, hold on. Public praise, a fleeting breeze. True worth is in intention of deeds. Character built from within, outlast the ephemeral den. Wisdom whispers, be sincere, for actions speak louder than mere veneer. I don't know. Okay, pulling it in. I'm hearing eyes are the window to the soul. Okay, hold on a minute. I got one more. So the Nevis, I'm getting like the rhythm or life cycles. The heart that transforms is leaving the legacy that time cannot erase. So heart activation, being pushed into spiritual destiny, transforms the pain to power and ends up expanding or taking loss and finding direction or divine role and presence here. Your blood gives you authority. Finding your purpose. I heard finding your purpose, spiritual warrior. I heard protecting the grid. The corrupt speaks separation. It is dual, meaning balance. Separation's an illusion. The corrupt speak hate. The corrupt speak division when it should be whole, unity. Watch for that. So maybe sort of you're seeing this shadow in your day-to-day work because you can't choose with whom you sort of care for or treat or serve or something like that, like cook for, whatever it is. And so you're seeing sort of that corruption come in through your 6th and 7th house, like the partnerships and people around your energy. It could be an actual connection or partnership or people in and around your energy, but you might be seeing that come in. Now, I do feel like you're surrounded by good people, support. Okay, too. There's people there with support, but it's like you might be seeing this here in places. So there could be, a partnership where there's some strife and issues there. But you might be seeing it coming into the day-to-days. Okay. And that's where you're seeing like the separation, the hate being projected, the the old structures that sort of breaks trust, and like sort of this perfectionism sacrifice. It's crazy. Some of you feel like your heart was not being acknowledged or recognized, but rejected instead, because the hate was pushing back. So just know that's an illusion. Okay. God sees your heart. Okay. All right, let me reel it in for just a second here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and throw out, like, I'm seeing 99 as well. I don't think I put that number on, but major spiritual endings, completions, release of old patterns, new growth. You're being called to leadership and humanitarianism. Okay. Leadership, humanitarianism. And your heart is the legacy that you're leaving. The unconditional love, the love that you give, the compassion. You're hoping, aspiring to sort of work towards that. And I think that in the future, we're going to see unity. We're all going to come together here. I think we're going to find a way to work it out here. And we're going to start seeing where structures have sort of played us against each other to distract us from really what's going on. And I feel like, there'll be compassion for one another and unconditional love once again. I'm not saying that everybody's going to agree 100%, but we'll work it out. That's what I'm feeling here. Because I feel like for far too long, we're getting played against each other here, especially with this energy that's coming up here on the board. And I feel like that has been a control mechanism, I feel like there's going to be a lot more faith in the future here. But I don't want you to focus on the future right on this reading here. I want you to focus on your presence, right? The present is everything, because this is the shift. This is the now. This is the here and now. Okay. But that's just a little glimpse of what I'm seeing the energy going towards. Okay. Common cause and understanding of freedom for all. You know what I mean? Like that, So there is a need to balance sort of this humanitarianism or self-sacrificing tendencies with your self-care. Okay, you need to really focus on getting the rest that you need. All right, very important. I'm going to throw that out there. Try to pull back from people that have like strong material attachments. All right, we worship the creator, not what's created. I heard again. I know it's a lot. I'm so sorry. I heard 12 gateway to the new beginning. An important lesson moving on to the next is what I heard. Soul readers and deeply gifted and talented. I just heard spiritual currency again. Spiritual currency, spiritual authority. Making sure, so I feel like this is kind of like a sort of pull in. Making sure that your spiritual warrior is receiving the order from a uncorrupt leader from the light from God. Okay, that's what we need here in the energy. I heard baptized by the fire. So some of you guys might be having some fire energy going on here. Keep the balance. Keep the balance. Keep the balance. It's so freaking important. Separation's an illusion. Don't flip the switch. If you flip the switch, the warrior will embody that pain, okay? And it will sever within. So just keep that in mind. We don't want an unchecked general. Okay, I just heard 12 again. Divine order, spiritual authority. Watch for the things that are distracting you. Distraction equals control and no manifestation. I just heard attention equals manifestation. Concentration of the mind equals manifestation. Concentration of the energy equals manifestation. The heart that transforms is your legacy. And it's putting out an energy that time cannot erase. Get ready for a huge shift. The way that you relate to partners, relate to people, see everything is going to change. And that's what I got for you. I hope you guys like this. I will put the timestamps up. And again, to my 11s, 22s, and 33s, keep doing the good work. I love you guys. And until I see you again, transcend. Peace.